What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the Antonio Chauran Sports Podcast. I just dropped, this is coming right off of the heels of my first ever episode on the same channel, but it's not a podcast, and it has to do with the new template of a video that I have started called Sports Drip Review. And essentially, what it is me going over a bunch of different jerseys, kits, shirts, however you say jerseys in whatever neck of the woods you are in, um, logos, sports, badges, things of that nature. It's really just anything that, represents a brand, right? Like a logo, right? Like this could be something that I could rate that I'd either get a grade on or things of that nature. I see a lot of kit reviews, a lot of jersey reviews, and I love that type of content. So I just dropped my first episode of that kind of new type of content that I'm venturing into yesterday. It was the inaugural episode, so go check it out. It is on my channel, but I have like a playlist of strictly where my podcast episodes are going to be, and then where that new video content um, under Sports Drip Review you will see that as well. So go check it out. It's shorter bites, right? It's probably about a 20-minute video, and I went over the rivalries, uh, jerseys that the NFL just dropped, which was the AFC East and the NFC West. So yeah, highly recommend. It's a fun watch, different. But I follow so many different guys that do reviews on primarily Premier League jerseys because they're or Premier League kits or shirts because they're all English. Let's be honest. A majority of these guys that I follow are English, but they're so funny. I love how they combine their obscene knowledge. Like their knowledge is so vast of the history of their clubs and things of that nature, and so you understand if you can pinpoint some meaning in these kits. You see it, but at the same time you want to be able to execute it, right? So, anyways, that really inspired me. So yeah, go check it out. But this is the Antonio Charan Sports Podcast now, and I'm going to be giving today my predictions, early playoff predictions for this coming season. Yeah, I'm recording on a Friday. It's going to come out on a Saturday. So we're by the time this is uploaded, 5 days until the start of the 2025-2026 regular season. I am pumped. You should be as well. Um, and yeah, I let's just get right into it. So you're going to see on the left-hand side of your screen um, this chart that I put together. You see, I have it divided between AFC and NFC, 1 through 7. And of course, you got to have a few honorable mentions in there, right? Now, full transparency. Um, you're kind of getting an early view of the rest of my division predictions for this upcoming season that a little series I've been doing on TikTok. So I am only 5 of the 8 divisions in. I still have the AFC South and both NFC and AFC West. I haven't covered those 3 divisions yet. I've covered all of the other 5. So if you follow me on TikTok, I'm kind of spoiling the last 3. Not necessarily the order, but at least you'll know like who I have at the top or second in some of these divisions because there are more than one uh, team in certain divisions that I feel will make the playoffs. Um, so yeah, but you know what though? It is what it is. That's what you get for being a subscriber to the Antonio Chadon Sports Podcast. All right. So we're gonna go from left to right here. All right, and we'll start from the bottom. Let's go over the barely missing the playoffs. I have the Broncos, Jaguars, and Bengals. Now, everyone is talking about how the AFC West is, if not one of the most competitive division in football this upcoming season. I can understand that sentiment. I can. Um, The Raiders, the new look Raiders with Pete Carroll as their head coach, Geno Smith coming over from the Seahawks, Ashton Genty, their new stud they drafted at wide receiver, I'm sorry, at running back from Boise State. Um, there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Raider fan. But I will die on this hill, and I've said this for the Broncos as well when they brought over Sean Payton from the Saints. It's going to take time. And I don't feel that this is all going to happen overnight. You got to give it a season or two. You got to give it some time for it to materialize. And I feel like the Raiders are going to still hit some bumps. I think they're going to be much better than they were last season, much better than they have in prior seasons. I mean, any upgrade isn't any player that's not Aiden O'Connell, respectfully, is an upgrade. So yeah, I think they can be a team that finishes with 7 or 8 wins. I do, but I don't think that's going to make the playoffs. I don't think that'll do it. Um, Broncos, similar thing where I feel like the teams that I have ahead of them are just going to be better. I get it. Another season, Sean Payton, he has his guy in Bo Nix. Cool. They got some really good players on the defensive side of the ball, specifically those that were from the Niners as well. Mufanga or Hufanga. I feel like I'm mispronouncing his name. I apologize. Um, as well as Dre Greenlaw, and a bunch of other studs as well. So you can't fault the personnel that they have. But I just personally feel like I haven't seen enough yet to really see that they're going to take another leap. Guys are already putting Bo Nix and like dark horse MVP contention. And I'm just let's stop. All right, let's pump the brakes. We got to relax on that. It's not going to happen. I feel like that the Chiefs and the Chargers are going to have better seasons than they will for the Broncos. And look, that I say all this, that doesn't mean that they can't have like 9 wins, but that I just feel like because both the AFC and NFC are going to be very competitive this year. It's going to be hard if you don't have at least 10, 11 wins to make the playoffs, in my opinion. I think it's going to be that close. Jaguars are very interesting. I think they're going to turn a little bit of a leaf here in terms of seeing real improvement. Um, I'm very interested to see how Trevor Lawrence does. If he doesn't have a decent season, definitely next season. Feel like next season is really going to be his make or break, where if you don't see genuine improvement from this guy, do you ship him off? Like seriously, like he has been very, very underwhelming. But look, they're the new Jags now. Um, Cohen coming from Tampa with the Duval. Yeah. Um, Obviously you got Hunter. Obviously you got Travis Hunter coming from Colorado. That's huge. Very curious to see how they're going to utilize him. Already having a baby, I saw was announced with his fiance. Congratulations. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on that scenario. We are not going to get into that. Um, but again, I still feel this is something where, similar with the Raiders, a bunch of new personnel, new coach, you got to give it some time. And with the Bengals, I've beaten this drum to death. Um, Bengals have an amazing offense. Joe Burrow is a hell of a quarterback, top four quarterback. Um, but look, their defense is not good. Cool. They finally signed Trey Hendrickson to a 1 year, $30 million uh, extension. They're still going to be dog shit on the defensive side of the ball. That's not changing. They're the exact same team as last year. They haven't changed. And the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Like that's what it is. And it's just not going to change. I have no reason to feel otherwise. So those are the teams I'm barely missing. Number 7, the number 7 slot on or who I feel is going to make the playoffs, eking in that wild card spot. I have the New England Patriots. I may sound like a little bit of a hypocrite here because I have said first year head coaches need at least a season, in my opinion, to really make their mark. But I am making an exception for New England for the pure fact that Mike Vrabel is a Patriot through and through. Not only did he play for the team, but he has been a head coach and he has won as a head coach. He played, I mean, he's in the ring of honor at Gillette, and his tenure in Tennessee, very good. I mean, what are you going to do with Ryan Tannehill, right? Like what he was able to do with Ryan Tannehill, I feel like should catapult him in contention when it comes to being a viable head coach and being a top head coaching candidate. I really like the acquisitions that they made in the offseason, especially to the wide receiver room. Not big names. I mean, Stephon Diggs, he's still kind of a big name, but he's kind of past his prime a little bit. Still, I feel like holds some weight to it too. I really like their addition of Matt Collins too, coming from the Bills, who always seem to have an amazing game against the Chiefs. Always piss me off, but it is what it is. They have a solid defense. They have a good old. I mean, their O line is going to be good when Mike Vrabel's there. I don't know. They have as well in terms of strength of schedule have one of the top three easiest schedules coming into the season, and that I feel is going to play a really big part in this as well. And I feel like with just the combination of all that, I feel like they're gonna have enough to eke into that seventh spot. So that's my opinion for that. Patriots at seven. Steelers I have coming in at number six. Now, call me kind of crazy, even cringe if you want, corny, a lot of C's there. I say all that to say I am going off of not only personnel, not only off of the tenure of Mike Tomlin. I'm going based off of vibes. I kind of like the vibes going on in Pittsburgh. I saw an interview that Aaron Rodgers did with Pat McAfee about a month ago, almost a month ago. And Aaron Rodgers was glowing. He was happy. He just recently got married this past offseason. Um, take with that information what you will. What I will take away from that is that he has someone that's just making his life better. Do you ever go to work and you're just not giving it your best because you have a shitty home life? I have it. My life's been great. I have an amazing fiance. I love her so much. She makes my life happy, which is why I have an amazing product at work. Now, that hasn't really been the case with Aaron Rodgers, right? Hasn't been a case with him really ever since he left Green Bay. Now, that first season in New York kind of tore his Achilles, right? So that happens, right? Just hasn't been good. Personally, I don't know his love life. I hear it's been a little bit turbulent. Um, but now he's got someone. And that might help. And my thing is what'll make or break this season for the Steelers is Aaron Rodgers, obviously, because he plays the most important position in football, the quarterback position. So look, I like what I'm seeing. I see that the chemistry looks good amongst the players. They got DK Metcalf. They got some other guys as well on the defensive side of the ball. I do wish they kept Mika Fitzpatrick. They brought back in Jalen Ramsey. We'll see what he does at this day and age in his career. But I'm optimistic. I like their tight ends too. I know that sounds very random, but Washington and Freiermuth, I think that's a great one-two punch. Um, I like what they got. I do. And so I don't think it's going to be I'm not saying they're going to go on a Super Bowl run, but I think they'll be viable playoff contenders, absolutely. And so I think they're going to be that second team right behind the Ravens in the AFC North. I do. So Chargers at number, or I'm sorry, Steelers at number six. Chargers, I have at number five. I think they're going to be right behind the Chiefs there in that AFC West division. Another year under Harbaugh. Look, I like Harbaugh more as a coach than I do Sean Payton. I'm not a Sean Payton fan. I just don't like him. I think he's a douche. Um, I like John Harbaugh though. I like John Harbaugh. Um, I'm really curious to see how Herbert plays this season. He, again, has flamed out very poorly in his only two playoff appearances in his career. Um, but look, I think they have a solid team. I think they have I'm really hoping to see if Quinn plays better this season. I've seen some clips of him in the offseason at practice. He's looking good, so hopefully it materializes into something. Um, I think overall they have a solid team. I think they have a very physical team. That O line led by Joe Alt, I think that's going to be very helpful for them. Um, Decent defense. I think coaching will go a long way with this team. And yeah, I think they're going to be a solid team, and I pick them in there at that five spot. Now getting to the division winners, have the Texans in at number four. I do like the fact, and this may sound weird, I like the fact that CJ Stroud had a crappy season last season. I say that because he was coming off of such of a high his rookie year. Everyone was saying, "Oh my God, this is the best rookie season we've ever seen." And then the next season, Jane Daniels came along. He's like, "Hold my beer." And then CJ Stroud had a pretty subpar, mediocre season. I think it's good that he went through that. I say that only because I feel like that's the type of season that can really build a character in a guy, especially in a quarterback position. And for someone as young as CJ Stroud, who has had a good amount of success, more success than some other older quarterbacks in this league. I feel like that's gonna, add a chip on his shoulder, but it's also just gonna add another dimension to his game, I feel, which could be very helpful for them. Um, I like their receivers. I feel like another year with D'Amico Ryans at the helm. I think they're a solid team. They haven't changed much coming into the season like they did last season. And I think that's a good thing. I feel like they're gonna be easily the division winners in the AFC South there. So Texans at number four. Ravens I have at number three. Similar team. They haven't really changed much, right? Um, Look, I feel we have the same, and I feel like it's similar with the Bills too. We're always like, it's the Ravens year, it's the Bills year. I feel like the Bills and Ravens are very interchangeable. To be honest with you, I put the Bills above the Ravens because they have an easier schedule. They're like the ninth easiest schedule in the NFL this coming season. In comparison to the Ravens, I have one of the tougher ones. So to be honest with you, that's really why I have the Bills number two over the Ravens. It's really a pick 'em in my opinion. You know, like one year the Ravens will be better and knock them out of the playoffs. The next year the Bills knock them out of the playoffs, like last year. Um, but look, another year with Derrick Henry, I don't see him slowing down. Lamar Jackson came off of an MVP caliber year. He easily could have won last year, even though it went to Josh Allen. Um, I don't really see any difference in this team. And to be honest with you, I can say the exact same thing about the Bills. I mean, they lost some guys on the defensive side of the ball. They brought in some more. Um, I can't remember if it was Micah Hyde I think it was Micah Hyde they brought back um, to the team. Either him and it wasn't Jordan Poyer. No, it was definitely Micah Hyde. I'm pretty sure. Correct me in the comments below. Um, but I feel like it's just kind of the same old thing here where um, they're kind of running it back a little bit. I will say, I think Sean McDermott is going to be a little bit on the hot seat if they don't see different results this coming season. I can't say the exact same for I'm sorry. I was saying John Harbaugh with the Chargers when I meant Jim. This is John Harbaugh with the Ravens. Do you think he's going to be on the hot seat? I don't know. I feel like John Harbaugh. Look, the only thing that's really keeping him up there is the fact that he got to win that Super Bowl in 2012. But you haven't seen much success after that. I mean, you have the team to do it. You do. Um, aside from, your little touchy kicker and Justin Tucker, Again, we're not going to get into that, but for the most part, you got your guys. And I not to sound biased, but I always feel like every year the Chiefs are playing with house money because, yeah, we got our ass kicked in the Super Bowl. I understand. I hear it all the time. I hear it in my household because Fran is always reminding me 34 nothing. Like I get it. Um, but look, the reality is Chiefs have won three Super Bowls in the past 6 years. Patrick Mahomes already has three Super Bowls, two MVPs, two regular season MVPs, and two Super Bowl. No, three Super Bowl MVPs. Lamar and Allen both have regular season MVPs. Cool, but the separation is getting wider and wider. And even if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl this coming season, and there's no hard work coming Mahomes' way, the reality is if the Bills and Ravens don't capitalize on that, that gap doesn't change. So I'm just at a point now where with the Bills and the Ravens, it doesn't really mean anything if the Chiefs don't win it all. It what really matters is if the Bills and Ravens do. And that's what it comes down to at this point. So, and I hear it all over, sports news, sports media, it's the Ravens, it's a must-win season, same with the Bills. Yeah, okay. It's been like that for the past two, three seasons, and nothing's happened. Neither one of them have made it to the big game. You know? That's what happens when you're the Chiefs and you make it to 7 or 8 straight AFC championship games and you have six Super Bowl appearances, or five Super Bowl appearances. That'll do it. So, anyways, and going to number one here, obviously I have the Chiefs. I love what I'm seeing from the Chiefs. Our 53-man roster was just announced. We have eight wide receivers on our roster. Now, I genuinely think that's just because they knew the suspension with Rashee Rice is coming after his multi-car crash, like over a year ago. It's a 6-game suspension, so they were just kind of prepping for that. Looking forward to when he does come back, but obviously he needed to face consequences. Honestly, he is so freaking lucky that no one got hurt, let alone killed. I mean, we've seen so many instances where guys have just have the whole world in front of them, have their entire careers in front of them, and they make very dumb and very consequential decisions that have unfortunately resulted in the loss of other lives. You know, um, and Rishi is so lucky that it didn't end up worse because it easily could have, and he could have altered his entire career. So he he better be thankful for those 6 games because it easily could have been so much worse. With that being said, I really like how our team is looking. I'm really excited about these young guys. Royals and Thornton, new additions to the receiving core. Remigio, I think he's always been a solid, player, second or third year guy. Great on the special team side as well. I think he could bode well for us. I really do. And on the defensive side of the ball, man, I mean, I think Jaden Hicks is going to take another leap forward, really filling in that Justin Reed role. You know, linebackers, God, I love our linebackers. Leo Chanel, um, Bolton, as well as Tranquil. I mean, we got some freaking ballers, man, and Chris Jones. I mean, the absolute wrecker on the D line, right behind him with Karlaftis. I mean, we got a squad. And Patrick Mahomes, he cut his freaking hair, man. He's about to ball out. MVP Pat is coming back this season. You heard her right here. And Travis Kelce, man. All right. I'm just going to say this real quick. What a life this guy is living, man. I mean, serious. He's with and engaged to the biggest, one of the biggest pop stars in the entire world. Uh, was just in Happy Gilmore too. Love the movie. It was hilarious. Um, I mean, man, this guy, I mean, he's living the life, right? I do appreciate because I had a feeling this was going to happen last season. It got to him a little bit, a little distracted, and he kind of played like shit. I say all that, even though he had over 800 yards, which isn't bad at all, especially for a tight end his age as well. But everyone's like, "Oh, he was horrible." Blah, 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 blah. Shut up. This season, he's locking in. This season, he is locked in, and he's pissed, as he should be, because we expected more, and we got absolutely boat raced in the Super Bowl. That was awful, embarrassing. I hope they think about that, and I hope they realize that they just cannot let that happen again. Because if they do, I will be very upset. A lot of people will be very upset. Mainly Chiefs fans. Everyone else is going to be very happy because they hate the Chiefs. Because they're not us. They hate us because they ain't us. That's what it is. They're mad. Anyways, so that's my AFC side right there. Moving over to the NFC. Let's go over to barely missing. I have the Vikings, Falcons, and Seahawks. Look, with the Vikings, the NFC North is so competitive. I could have also had the Bears here. I feel like with JJ McCarthy taking over that quarterback role, I have to see it. You know, we saw a few preseason games. He looked great. But the unknown with JJ McCarthy is really what's holding me back here. I think you know, O'Connell is a great head coach. Um, so it's not about him. It's just really the unknown with McCarthy. It really is. And so because of that, I have them missing the playoffs. Same thing here with the Falcons. Michael Penix, it's now the Michael Penix era in Atlanta with BJ Robinson. Raheem Morris, I think he's a solid head coach. They also have that Jeff Obrecht guy that was the D coordinator with the Jets, I think from like 22 to 24. And then after Robert Saleh got the boot, he was the interim head coach there. I thought he was great as a D coordinator, not so much as a head coach, but granted, he was kind of put him in a tough spot. But I think he's a great D coordinator. I think he's going to do really well with Atlanta. So, and is this going to be the season we start to see Kyle Pitts really be the Kyle Pitts that we expected him to be? I don't know. We'll see. But I like the receivers. I like Drake London. I like, Mooney. I think they got some great pieces on the defensive side of the ball as well. Um, Bijan Robinson. How can you forget him? He's an absolute stud. So yeah, I say all that to say I still think they're going to miss the playoffs, but I really think it's going to come down. I think both AFC and NFC, it's going to come down to the last few weeks, really just jockeying for that seventh spot, even sixth spot. So we'll see what happens there. And with the Seahawks, again, new team, new quarterback in Sam Darnold. Um, I don't want to be that guy that's just like, oh, Sam Darnold was only good because he was with the Vikings and he had all these weapons. He had Kevin O'Connell, this, that, and the other. I don't want to be that guy. And I'm not going to. I would just like to see how he plays with Seattle. I feel like I will be more confident picking Seattle to make a playoff run once I see a full year of Sam Darnold in a Seahawks uniform. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I don't feel like that's like me being harsh. Anyways, so those are my teams I have barely missing, but I at least want to give them some mention. Number seven, I have the 49ers eking in that last playoff spot. Look, I feel like the most difficult division to judge here, not because it's difficult, but because all of these teams have so many question marks, you just don't know what to expect. And that's the NFC West. Um, Rams, Niners, Seahawks, and Cardinals. Like I've seen some people putting the Cardinals to win this division. I've seen every team be picked to win this division, and it's hard. It's very difficult. Again, it's not like the NFC North where it's like all these teams are so good, and that's why it's so hard. Like, no, it's not that with the NFC West. Respectfully, I'm not trying to talk shit about these teams. It's not that, but I don't know what to expect. With the 49ers, is Christian McCaffrey going to be healthy? Are we going to see Brock Purdy, have like an MVP caliber season? They are depleted in the wide receiver position, and they got a guy like Sky Moore who was with the Chiefs. I'm glad we let him go. Look, I wish you the best, Sky. I know you're probably not watching this, but if you are, I wish you the best. You had some really good plays with us here and there. You had that one touchdown in the Super Bowl. Um, but now you're over here on Twitter saying that he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he's basically like every play that I make, every big play that I make is essentially like kind of giving it back to the Chiefs. And this time I'm like, shut up. All right. Anyways. Um, and they got some other play. They got a few other wide receivers as well. Um, I can't remember, but they're depleted. They're not the same wide receiver group that they were. Looks like Juwan Jennings is going to be like their number one guy, which I mean, he's a solid player. I mean, in fantasy, he was amazing. Um, but he thrives in that two or three spot. I don't see him thriving as the number one wide receiver. That's just not his spot. That's not his bread and butter. I don't see it. Defensively, I'm very curious to see what they look like. Robert Saleh is back on that defensive side as well, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they're a Kyle Shanahan team, and you got to put respect on their name because of that. Not when it comes to Super Bowls, but that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about making the playoffs. Um, so again, I'm just because of that, I have to have them in the playoffs, but barely. So that's where they're at right there. Number six, I have the Commanders. This isn't because I think record wise they'll be bad, but the Eagles are the best team in that division. And I think they're going to come down a little bit, right? Not drastically. I still have them making the playoffs. I think Jaden Daniels is going to have another amazing season. Potentially could be in the running for MVP. I don't know. But their defense is what holds me back. They don't have a great defense. Offensively, I am very intrigued. They finally signed Terry McLaurin to a 3-year extension. Very smart, very obvious decision to make if you are, the Commanders' ownership. Um, they retained a lot of their guys from last season. I do wish that they kept, um, and it's number eight. He was number eight. The name is slipping me. But they still got Austin Eckler as well. Was it Antonio Gibson? I don't know. Maybe it was. Again, in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong there. Um, they got Debo, right? And they got some other players as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're going to still keep a steady ship this season. I could easily see them winning 11 or 12 games. But quite frankly, I just feel like the Eagles are going to run away with this division. They're just so good. So yeah. Anyways, Commanders at number five. I'm sorry, not number six. Number five, I have the Packers. Now, I almost swapped the Packers and Lions for the simple fact that freaking Micah Parsons is now a Green Bay Packer. Are you shitting me? First off, if you're a Cowboys fan, your team is a joke. You're a joke. Jerry Jones, you're a joke. All of you guys. What are you doing? Look, say what you will about Jerry Jones. When it comes to business and building a brand, I'll give it to him. The guy has made billions of dollars building this team up for decades. Good for you. But when it comes to football, no. I don't understand. I don't understand what happened. And you have a guy like Micah Parsons who it's not like he wanted to leave. He wanted to be there, but you didn't want to give him the money that he deserved. and you saw what happened. And then he wanted to be petty and put it out there in the public and be like, oh, well, if Micah wants to get paid, then he needs to start acting like that. And then, like, that's just such a jerk move, man. Bro, it's so petty. It's childish. And, it just shows the true colors of the Jones family. It does. So, you guys aren't going to win for a very long time. You guys, I don't even have you guys making the playoffs. Good luck. You guys are going to have a great offense. Fantasy, I'm going to definitely be picking some guys on your offense, but when it comes to your defense, good freaking luck, dude. Gosh, you guys are going to be lucky if you win 6 or 7 games. What a joke. Anyways, I say getting back to the Packers here, an amazing addition for them. An amazing addition. Um, I thought they had a decent defense already, and I kind of labeled their offense kind of like as a B, like B grade. Like they have a lot of guys that are good. They don't have that one guy that's an absolute superstar. But you know what you're getting though. You're getting consistency. You're getting stability in that sense. Um, but I mean, you get such an explosive juggernaut from this one player on the defensive side of the ball, where one sack, one strip sack, one turnover can absolutely change the temperature of a game, right? And so I almost put them to win their division. But I think still overall, and the Packers, they have a tough schedule as well. I mean, the Lions do. They have a very incredibly tough schedule as well. Um, didn't give me enough to put them above the Lions, but damn, they are right there. So I have them at number 5. I have them as the best wild card team. Number 4, I have the Rams. Um, Very curious to see what happens with Matthew Stafford. He's been having that back problem, and they have been working like hell to get him healthy, spending so much money on like this weird like mobile therapy hospital. It's super weird, but it's stupid how like it's so innovative, but it's so expensive. Like it's costing millions of dollars. But yeah, literally Stafford just like pops in there and just gets therapy for his back, and so much stuff goes on. I'm not doing it justice. Um, but yeah, I mean, what's going on? I feel like a lot of their season is going to be predicated on his health. And if he's not there, I'm very nervous for the Rams. I mean, they have the pieces on the offense. They just got Devontae Adams this past offseason. Obviously, they have Puka Nacua. On the defensive side of the ball, I mean, they're covered, right? You saw what they were able to do last season. They were the only team to give the Eagles a run for their money. Um, so because of that, I have him at number 4, Sean McVay. I trust him. He's a great head coach. But ooh, what's going on with Matt Stafford, right? That was another reason why I was kind of like, should they be at the top of their division? Um, so I'm gonna have him here, but not very confident. But again, just predictions. They're not foolproof. I like to be right, but I also can understand that I could be very wrong here. So, anyways, Rams at number 4. Lions I have at number 3. Again, I have no reason to think why they will change this season. Jared Goff, I think he's going to have another great season. I love their offensive weapons. I think they have the great 1-2 punch, the greatest 1-2 punch at the running back position with Gibbs and Montgomery. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's an absolute stud. Um, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, we have Aiden Hutchinson coming back from that really gruesome knee injury. Um, yeah, I mean, they're going to want it. They really are. And you can't blame them for that. And I think they got a nice boost at the end of that season after beating the Vikings and then winning their division and knocking the Vikings down to the wild card spot, even though they were one and done in the playoffs. Um, but given that that's the case, I think that makes them even more hungry to get back into this season and to make a deep run like they did 2 years ago. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have no reason to feel like they're going to fall in that sense. I really don't. So yeah, and I love Dan Campbell. I would love to play for a coach like that. I would run through a brick wall for you, Dan. Best believe that. So yeah, Lions at number 3. Number 2. I feel like this is like the first team, in my opinion, that's just kind of like, whoa, really? I have the Bucks at number two. Hear me out. I really liked what I saw from the Bucks last year. I really like how Baker Mayfield has had a complete 180 in his career. And you can credit that to just the resilience that took him to get through that little, part in his career where he went to Carolina, then he went to the Rams for like half a season, then he finally landed in Tampa, a place that accepts him for who he is and where he's able to freaking thrive. Um, he needed that. He absolutely needed that. And I mean, I really like their team. I like their running backs, with Rashad White. Mike Evans is an absolute stud. Chris Godwin, stud. I don't know why I said it like that. I sound like I'm from New England. What a stud. Sorry. Stud. Mike Evans is. Chris Godwin as well. I like Otten, their tight end. I think they got good defensive pieces as well. Todd Bowles is a great coach. I think it's also they're just benefiting from being in a kind of subpar division. I mean, look, I think those Falcons games will be competitive, absolutely. Um, but I could see them winning 5 out of 6 division games. So I mean, that's 5 wins right there. And in terms of strength of schedule, they're kind of like middle of the pack. They have the 13th or 14th easiest schedule. Um, and I feel like that'll help them out a little bit, especially compared to these other NFC teams that are more on the difficult end in terms of strength of schedule. I can easily see the Bucks getting 13 wins if I'm being 100% honest. I could totally see that. I'm very optimistic about the Bucks this season. So, yep, have the Bucks at number two and number one. Let's not kid ourselves, guys. It's the Eagles. I mean, overall, I think they'll probably be the best team in football again. I mean, what does there to say? Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. You know, on the defensive side of the ball, they lost some players. I understand that, but for the most part, they kept their guys intact. Um, Damn it, I gotta give Nick Sirianni some respect. I really do. God, he's such a douche sometimes. But you know what? That's okay. He deserves to be one now. He's a freaking NFL Super Bowl champion. Good for you. Um, but look, the reality is they know how to win and they know how to win their way. And I don't see any team forcing them to have to play a different way and not play their game. Um, I mean, they may endure that maybe like 1 or 2 games throughout the regular season, but when push comes to shove, they're going to be the team that's going to dominate. They're going to be the team that calls the shots, and they're going to go by their rules. So, I just, it's going to be a very, very good season. It's going to be very competitive. Going to be a lot of highs, a lot of lows. I think we can etch for the most part, at least on the AFC side. I feel like it's pretty obvious who will win their divisions. I think it's the Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, and Texans. I feel like that's pretty set in stone. On the NFC side, I feel like the only team you can etch in stone are the Eagles and Bucks. The NFC West and East, not East, NFC West and North, interesting. Those are, I feel like, one of the most, those two are the most compelling divisions this season for sure. Um, I feel like the AFC West is compelling as well. Um, but look, those wild card spots and jockeying for those spots, I feel like those are really going to come down to the wire, in my opinion. That's going to come down to week 18, all those division games. It's going to be, it's going to be intense. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited though. I think it's going to be great. And yeah, so that's my list. We will see how accurate I am. If I can at least get the divisions, that's cool, right? If I can get the divisions right and maybe one wild card spot, that's great. That I don't know what percentage great that is. I wasn't very good at math. I actually barely passed algebra in eighth grade, but I passed. Stayed on course. I say all that to say math ain't my best subject, but that's okay. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna be great. Very optimistic as a Chiefs fan. Gonna get a lot of hate. That's all right. Comes with the territory. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys are excited as much as I am. I'm going to continue having a lot of content going into this season, whether if it's on the podcast or on TikTok as well. Again, follow me on TikTok at Antonio Chauran. Um, follow the podcast, like and subscribe to the Antonio Chauran Sports Podcast. Really appreciate the support, and I will catch you all next time. Peace.